Yes, bitch, yes, with Tiffany, where conversation rules the nation.
Welcome to Yes Bitch Yes, where conversation rules the nation. But before we get started, allow me to introduce today's very special guest. From Kalamazoo, Michigan to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Xavier E. Prather may be best known as the first black winner of Big Brother on season 23, who went on to premiere on the Challenge USA's inaugural season, and a recent competitor on the first season of Big Brother's Reindeer Games. But he is much more than a reality TV star. Xavier is no stranger to competition. He's a former basketball player who took his skills from the basketball court to the court of law. He would challenge himself to go from a summer intern to a law clerk to a legal intern to earning his second Juris Doctor from Marquette University Law, allowing him to join his law firm and brand himself as an attorney. Xavier has taken his skills and experience in law and entertainment and combined them to create and launch his new company, Lawyer Like. Lawyer Like is a legal consulting agency that aims to revolutionize legal services for individuals and agencies operating in the entertainment and sports sectors. He is not just a castmate of mine or a close friend. We have grown into a very supportive family, and I consider him to be my brother from another mother. Please welcome the
Oh,
man, the myth, the legend, Xavier E. Prather.
that was a beautiful introduction. Thank you, Tiffany. It's so good to see you.
Oh, it's so good to see you. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's a star. He's a star.
Nah, he ain't a star. He's still the same ball dude you knew a couple of years ago. But I'm just trying to, make the most of the opportunities that have been presented before me and try to really do things in the world that makes sense for me, and also try to, use any gifts that I've been blessed with to help others. Um,
They're gonna have to
So,
prove me
Tiffany,
wrong.
talk to me about Yes Bitch Yes, because I didn't know this was something you kind of were in the midst of creating. I love it, by the way.
Thank
I
you.
love kind of that allows you a space to just talk
Yeah.
and talk about things. I know at times you might feel like you got to be more political about what you say. This is more of a space for you to just kind of have these candid conversations, and I love that for you. So, what led you to actually moving forward with creating your own podcast?
Well, so there's a lot of conversation that I have. My circle
Mhm.
has grown exponentially. I've been hanging around Big D for too long.
Exponentially.
Exponentially.
There you
And
go.
and I find myself having so many diverse conversations that I'm like, people need to hear these conversations. These are relevant
Mhm.
topics to not just me, you. They're conversations that people don't even know that we are having. And
Mhm.
I felt kind of boxed in to this reality TV personality.
Mhm.
Whenever, we share something or I post something, that topic is never the subject. It's always, but what about on Big Brother? Well, what about this? And it's like
Yeah.
my life is
Yeah.
way bigger. There's more to me than just Big Brother. I appreciate the opportunity Big Brother has given me. I love the platform that it has given me. I'm more publicly accessible, and I guess that's a gift and a curse. But the
Yeah.
people that I have been introduced to, the family that has developed from Big Brother, I can never be ungrateful for that. It's been a
Facts.
blessing to me. And so I have been like, I've been taking like certain classes on, I guess I have developed, not even developed, I think I've always been a lover of the arts, performing arts, but I just
Yeah.
didn't know that I really am interested in the way that I am. And we'll talk about that. But getting into Yes Bitch Yes, me and Big D spent a lot of time talking. And one day we were on FaceTime and I think I was going off. he was he was like, somebody needs
All
to
right.
hear this. We need to record this. Let's just go jump on and see what happens. And I was like, you know what? Yes, bitch, yes. And so the funny thing is,
Ah.
My aunt told me years ago, way before I even made it on reality TV, because I used to do these Facebook statuses before that even became a thing. I was doing
Okay.
Facebook statuses in the morning. I would be at work, I'd throw a status up, and then it just started getting like all these comments. And so if I didn't put up a status, people would DM me like, what's the question today? And I'm like, oh, this is
Yeah.
pressure. My aunt was like, I want you to have a show called Yes Bitch Yes. And I was like, yeah, because that was my thing.
Oh,
Like, yes, bitch, yes.
yeah. Yeah.
So when me and
Okay.
Big D were talking, he was like, let's just go record and let's just be fluid. And if we want to
Yeah.
drop it, then you drop it. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. So we did the pilot, the first one, Yes Bitch Yes, where I was just getting things off my chest. And I realized, you
Yeah.
know what? I do like this. This is something I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's me being me. And it's not
Yeah.
centered around reality TV and the game and
No.
apologizing or defending or accepting anything. It's just, I'm a person, I'm a human first. And from there, I was like, I think I really want to do this. And I really want to allow other people to feel free to do what I am doing for myself and showcase themselves in who they really are as people, what got us to this point. This is not the
Yeah.
point of who we are. We were someone before we got here, and we have grown since being in that point. So people have been coming and people have been scheduling, and I've been having conversations
Love it.
that have allowed people to feel free from that screen of I've got to be this person for who the fans or the supporters or the viewers think I am. And they're getting more authentic people to follow their journey because they're sharing who they really are. And that's why even in your introduction, I acknowledge that you are the winner of Big Brother, but there's so much more to Xavier. That's a part of who you are, but you were Xavier before Big Brother, and there's so much to know about you. And you were one of the first people I wanted to talk to because just in America, period, Black men have a struggle to just every day go out there and be who they want to be without feeling like I'm a Black man first. It's unfortunate that you can't feel I'm a human first because I do. I'm human first. I'm human before I'm straight. I'm human before I'm a woman. I'm human before I'm Black. Although that's not how the world perceives us. And you've overcome so many obstacles that you have shared, but I wanted you to share them with me.
Yeah. It's funny. Not many people know much. Like people, I think, kind of think they know about my backstory, but they really like some of the things I've been through in my life that other people really don't. They have no idea. And I haven't really shared much about my upbringing or like things that I've dealt with. But I'm here to do it on Yes Bitch Yes, so that way people can learn a little bit more about you know things that I've gotten through to get to kind of where I am today. Because it wasn't all rainbows and sunshine. I remember I saw one comment on the internet when they found out like half my family was white. They were like, "Oh, Xavier's like some Blind Side type of story." I was like, "No, that's not the case. It's not the case at all." But that is my family too, and I'm never gonna hide them just so that way people assume that like I don't know,
Sit in their
like
comfort.
my life or my upbringing was something different than what it is. It was like no, those are just that's my family too, and I'm never gonna hide them because I love them no different than I love the other sides of my family as well. But yeah,
So
it's
let me
it's
ask you a
I
question.
love that you have this space. Go ahead,
Thank you.
interview me.
Let's so I found someone asked me this question, and it was an easy question to say and a tough question to respond to because it made me have to be vulnerable. And I also was able to choose how vulnerable I wanted to be. And I felt that my response to this question was going to depict how people saw me and what I wanted them to see from me. And so my question that I'd like to ask you is if you can share with us two things. Throughout the life of Xavier E. Prather, what is something that you're comfortable with sharing that you are, one, the most proud of, and 2, the most disappointed in?
Most proud of and most disappointed in.
Or one of your greatest
Um,
achievements and one of your greatest disappointments. It doesn't have to be the
I would,
most.
s- yeah, no, I think my greatest achievement in my life, I would say, would be becoming a lawyer. I do think that was probably the best achievement of my life. It's including anything I've done on reality TV, anything I've done off the reality TV. I think really kind of going through school. I was never the smartest kid in school. I never was like the 4.0 student. I did well. I think the highest my GPA ever was like a 3.8 or a 3.9, but I was never like a 4.0 student. Um, just wasn't my energy. But like when I look at
That's so not the example of I'm not a 4.0 student, but I'll let you continue.
yeah, but like when I think about my family and some of the legal troubles that people very close to me have encountered both before I was on TV and even after I was on TV. Like for example, people don't know this, but like while I was in the Big Brother house, one of my brothers was had gotten caught with a case and got locked up. I know everyone knew about the brother who passed away, but I had another brother who, while I was in the house, like shortly after we entered the house, he had gotten into a situation where he ended up getting locked up, and like the whole time I was in the Big Brother house, he was locked up.
Wow.
And so like when people don't know that like some of the legal battles that my family has been through, for me to kind of be now in a position where I can provide some guidance, provide some assistance to the extent that I can within the rules of the law, that's huge for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge for me from a personal standpoint. And then when you look at the legal field as a whole and how significantly underrepresented or how much black people aren't represented in the kind of legal field in the respect of
In the
representation. I mean,
defense,
yeah,
we're in court.
black people account.
We black
Yeah,
people are in
we
court.
we in court. We in court, but from a lawyer standpoint, we only make up 5% of the legal field, and so like to be a part of such a very small number, that to me transcends just like myself. Like that was one of the things that I was really grateful for as I've been on TV is like people do view me as the big brother whenever I get so many messages where people are like, yo, it was crazy to see like a black lawyer on TV because I don't a lot shit. Some people had never even like seen a black lawyer before, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy. But then when you look at statistically, it makes sense that they wouldn't have. Like so to also kind of be that beacon of possibility and hope for people. That's why for me my greatest accomplishment was becoming a lawyer. Um, my biggest disappointment. Um,
It's always hard to
that
share that one
the
because
disappointment's a little bit tougher because it does
because
require you to be
it
vulnerable,
does. It
and
does.
and it also forces you to like look in the mirror and see your faults, and I think that's tough for people to do as a whole.
Okay. And that, you know what? Here's why um acknowledging a great disappointment is one important, and two is it is vulnerable. It makes us be accountable for our actions, and
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
also I actually appreciate the question because it it makes me human, and it takes
Yeah,
me off this pedestal of I have never done anything wrong, because I don't live by that.
yeah.
But
No, I know. I made
people
plenty
who
of
are
mistakes.
supporters, or people who just love so many things about you, may think like you've never done anything. And one of the things that I try to do is stay grounded. And I
Yeah.
relate to my people who support me. And I'm not a person who's never made a mistake. I'm not someone who hasn't done anything. I'll share something with you, like, just even hearing you
Okay.
say about, you became a lawyer because of um, the lack of representation, just legal battles within your family. I don't know if it was like, what's the greatest thing I can do? What's the highest achievement I can get to? You know what? I'm gonna jump out there and I'm going to be a lawyer. But
Yeah.
I am someone in my own family, particularly, who I should have been a lawyer. All the people I know that's in
Mm.
jail, Just I'm, and it's like, and I don't mean friends. Something that this is not necessarily my disappointment, but it is something I've carried with me that I have kind of been disappointed in. And I grew up with a parent who was in the legal system. My dad was in prison a lot of my life, and I was a daddy's girl. And there's a good and a bad to that. I still to this day have like boxes of letters that he's written me throughout my life that I can always go back and read and learn from. And he never wrote to me like I was a child. But the disappointment comes from the fact that it was never a life that I wanted, and it was never a life that I even shared. Like people that my friends I went to school with, I was never in school saying, yeah, my dad's in prison. That was not a part of my story. Nobody even knew that. And so it was nothing that I wanted to carry with me. And then I have a son, and I always wanted his life to be very different than mine. And for the most part, I've been able to give him all the wonderful things that I was able to have as a child, and even more. But then when his dad and me, we were engaged, we were in love, Christian was planned, we were going to be together. Well, when Christian was 8, he got locked up. And I don't talk about it. It's not something I share. There have been so many comments online. Tiffany's to find her real baby daddy. I don't know what the story is people think. And I really don't care what the story is that they think, because it's nobody's story to tell but mine. But the disappointment in that, and also I don't tell it because my son is also of age where it's not just my story. It is also his story. And it may easily be something that he doesn't share.
When it comes to like sharing my vulnerability or sharing my stories, I also want to be respectful of the privacy of people who, like, whether they were good stories or bad stories, especially if they're bad stories and like people don't necessarily want that being known about them, I'd rather kind of keep mum on that. That's why like you don't really too much hear me talking a ton about like past romantic relationships and stuff like that, just because it was like I want to protect their privacy, or like they're in new relationships. I don't want to bring up any old feelings or stir things up like that. Like I'd rather just kind of leave that at bay. But I would say the thing that I'm most disappointed in myself in is not kind of healing from the things that I needed to heal from when I got to an age to where I knew better, or when I got to an age when I knew like these things are affecting me. They're still impacting my relationships. They're still impacting my behavior. And I know that they're kind of doing that, or maybe I don't know, but if all it takes you to do is like talk about it, and then you'll really be able to see like, oh, I'm doing this, or I'm acting this way, or I've done this. Like I've struggled with relationships because I haven't dealt with properly healed from my parents' divorce, even though that happened when I was really kids. Or like I've struggled with commitment just because I feel like I haven't really seen a proper example of what long-term commitment looks
It's
like.
our
But
childhood
like,
trauma.
yeah, but like, where that like, I don't know. You at a certain point, you've got to take ownership of that. And I feel like I waited too long to kind of determine to myself, like, you know what, that was my parents' things, and I love my parents, and I love everything that they've done for me. I wouldn't be here without them, but like any baggage that they have is not my weight to carry, and it took me a long time to figure it out. Like I was a grown ass man before like this is like recently I had to go to therapy and like really look at like where I've made mistakes in my life. But then I was always able to kind of draw a line to like why I did it. And I was like, if you had figured this out way sooner, do you know how many mistakes you could have avoided? How many people that like you might have hurt that you could have like avoided like hurting in your romantic relationships? How many, friendships you might have been able to salvage, or like just things that I'm like, you could have done things so differently, and you didn't because you didn't take the steps that you needed to heal from someone else's kind of problems. Like
That's
that
heavy.
that's that is, yeah, that's really probably my biggest disappointment is I didn't take ownership of kind of my life and my actions sooner because I didn't take the necessary action steps to heal from things that I hadn't healed from. I just kept pushing them down, or I would kind of on the surface just be the the personable Xavier, but really deep down there's things that I still struggle with on a more personal and intimate level that like I hadn't dealt with. And it's like in not dealing with that, I'm just causing further pain for myself or potentially causing pain for others. And that's not okay.
Yeah.
That's never fucking okay. And so that's probably my biggest disappointment is really not taking the time to heal from the things that I should have healed from a long time ago. To because I think those not doing that was holding me back from being the best version of Xavier that I could be. And like now that I feel like I have done that. I just see the benefits of it, and I'm frustrated with myself for not doing it sooner because then I could have been a better version of me for other people.
I hear what you're saying. You're like, I could have been so much further along and ahead had
Yes.
I just accepted I need help with managing the things that I've gone through and how
Mm-hmm.
they are impacting me right now. And I
100%.
allowed these things to impact me for a long time, trying to
Mm-hmm.
do it and manage it on my own. And I
Mm-hmm.
realized when I finally got assistance with it, it was so beneficial that I could have been doing this a long time ago.
Yeah.
But, you know, that hindsight is always 2020 and everything.
100%. 100%.
And true, maybe there are some relationships that didn't have that soured that didn't have to, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe they did have to. Everything is in divine order, and it is a reason that things happen in the time that they do.
Mm-hmm.
You are where you are today because of those decisions, and
Mm-hmm.
where you are is a beautiful place from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of the things that you are still continuing to do. You could have taken so many different paths that would have allowed us to never meet, to not even sit here and have these conversations. I do want to ask you though.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we were in the Big Brother house, and it may have been 1 week or the second week of just like I knew that I was the oldest person in the house, or one of. I definitely thought Frenchie was older than me, but it's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Observing everyone and just like assessing people, trying to figure out who they are, where they come from, what makes them them, how did they get to this point in their life, because you also have nothing else to do. You are
Uh-huh.
someone who was very, I was very curious about you, um, because of how you moved. And I don't mean in a strategic or a game way. I mean just in life in general. You are someone
Mm-hmm.
who every day you had a daily routine. You got up at a very specific time, showered. You had a strict routine. You 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 didn't veer far off from your routine on a daily basis. Your closet was neat and organized. Your basket that carried your toiletries to the bathroom and out. You were not someone I was like, oh, we got to clean up after Xavier. He's going to lose this. You never lost a thing. Just extremely meticulous and extremely responsible. And I was so intrigued by you. I wanted to know, who raised you? How did you become this person? And I remember I even got in trouble for my thoughts because I'm just going from one end of the spectrum to the end trying to figure out how did he become like he
Oh,
makes his bed? He's like he
yeah.
makes his bed all the time. He's so neat and orderly. Like you iron. I've not seen anybody iron since 1995.
I love ironing clothes.
I'm
I
like,
love. I hate
was
wrinkles.
he in
I
the
hate wrinkles.
military? Is he a police officer? Is he
Yeah,
is he what did he go to boot camp? Like, who is this
yeah.
person? And then, come to find out like you're an attorney. You've and then you were sharing stories like, I've been through some things in my life.
Mm.
I have so many questions. I'm going to try not to ask them all at one time, but
Go for it.
it's just like
Go for it.
my the thoughts that are running around in my head are like, who raised you to be this person? How did you get these values and these systems that you live by? What made you determine that I'm going to actually put education first and I'm going to go to school first, and that's going to be where I prioritize. I want to. Um, you seem to have known what you wanted to do or the person you wanted to be. And that's why me and Hannah are like, he's definitely 47. It has nothing to do with the way you look, the way you move, anything. It is just the way you are. It is such a
Mm.
responsible, it's a man. It's a
Mm-hmm.
grown man. And
Mm-hmm.
I, as a mom who's raising a young man, and I'm raising him as a single mother, I do have a great support system. His father is still involved. His father's father is still involved. Like, we have a lot of support. My uncles, my brother, but in the home, it's me. And I'm like, I'm watching you in this house, and I'm like, now what would my son be doing? So I'm just
Like,
interested to know. You share a lot, and you've
yeah.
shared that you've had a blended family. You've got a family that
Mm-hmm.
you've got a very diverse family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where you can start, and I don't know how to help you answer.
Yeah.
But like,
So
who is Xavier, and where did he
my
come from?
Xavier came from a very unique set of familial circumstances.
Okay.
So he's not a blindside story. I'll let everyone know that.
Okay.
But so my parents were together for less than a year after I was born. They got married and then they were divorced within the first year of my life. From there, they both remarried. My mother remarried my stepfather, and they've been together ever since. My father remarried my first stepmother, and they were together for several. They were together for over a decade, I
Mm-hmm.
believe. But so growing up, I was bouncing back and forth between the two. Custody battles are not. They're nasty. They're nasty. And like there were, I would say, there's things that have happened in my life kind of impacted me to where I'm more meticulous about things. So, for example, like when I was going back and forth between like my parents, we would be meeting halfway between Indiana and Michigan and stopping in the middle in like Coldwater.
Mm-hmm.
And or my dad might drive all the way to Fort Wayne to drop me off at my mom's, and we would always meet at the same place. It was always a McDonald's.
Okay.
And there would be times where like we would get there and like my mom's like wouldn't show up,
Mm-hmm.
or like she would be like an hour late. And like I remember my pops used to get pissed, or like when she would, I think when she would be late, he would be mad, but like she would show up. But like when something happened to where she just like couldn't show up, he would always be like hot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was something. And then I remember when I would like be with my mom's for the summers, like it seemed like we could never get places on time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so for me, when I got to an adult, I was like, yeah, I'm not, I don't like being
Mm-hmm.
late. That's just not my thing. Because it used to bother me as a kid, and now I'm old enough to where I have control over whether or not I can be on time. And so I'd rather be on time. I usually am pretty good about gauging how long something's going to take. And so I factor that in significantly into everything that I do. Like, no, I want to be on time, because if you're on time to me, that's showing a sign of respect to whoever you're whatever you're about to do or
You're
whoever you're
respecting
seeing.
someone else's time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's how I kind of got meticulous. And then like when it comes to like keeping my stuff organized, that's all my mama. Like when
Mm-hmm.
I was at my mom's, the bed had to be made a certain way. The living room pillows needed to be stacked in a certain order. You clean your plate. Like once you're done eating dinner, there's a specific way you gotta clean that dish and put it into the dishwasher.
Yes.
Like everything was very routine. And then there were times where like my mom was kind of my going to my mom's house at the time was still a very loving household, but it was kind of like boot camp at times
Mm-hmm.
because like if let's say we like forgot to take out the trash, she was like, "All right, wall sits. Like here y'all go sit down. Wall. Do you know what a wall sit is? Like when you at the
Yeah. Is
gym?
it too late
Yeah."
for me to implement that?
No, I'm dead ass. Like I can remember a time I think my brothers and I came home too late. Like my mom always had a rule like y'all need to get your asses home before the street lights come on.
Mm-hmm.
That was absolute rule. And there were times when we would come home too late. She'd be like, "All right, y'all were about 15 minutes late. Get on that wall, get to squatting."
Wow.
Yep. And
Yeah.
it was like
I
for every
love
minute
that
that y'all
though.
was late, y'all gonna be. Yeah, oh no! Like I mean, she breeded some athletes.
I mean,
uh,
because it
but it
takes a
did.
lot more to do that, and it gives a child a lot more to think about and
Oh yeah.
learn
The whole
than like just
the
getting
whole
knocked
time
upside the head.
yeah, the whole time you sitting there squatting, your legs wobbling, you just like I ain't never
Mm-hmm.
gonna miss the street lights, not ever again.
Yeah.
And then as you wobble into your bed because you got Bambi legs right now after doing the air squat, you just thinking like, I'm not gonna let that happen anymore. So like she would do things like that. Like if
Mm-hmm.
we, like let's say we forgot to make our bed, drop and give me 20.
Hmm.
Like she just made it to where it's like I'm gonna ingrain it so much in your brain to do the things that are asked of you to where like either one I shouldn't even. And eventually you'll get to the point where I don't even have to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just on my mom's side. On my dad's side, it was pretty much similar energy. Like my moms and my pops were both very much like almost militaristic. Like they
Okay.
were very much like, you're gonna do it like this. This is how it's done. If you don't do it, that's your ass. So when I was with my mom for the summer, I was getting that. When I was back at home, I was still getting that from my pops. He would be like if my stepmom would be like, "Hey guys, take the trash out." Like some of my brothers were more so like, we'll take it out when we're ready." My ass was up because
Mm.
I was like, "Nope," because I know if she asked all of us to take the trash out, and my black ass is sitting right here, and I didn't get up to try to do what she asked, my dad's gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
And my dad was the type of figure where like he like if he needed to knock you upside the head, he could, but a lot of times just his presence
Mm-hmm.
was enough to be like, yeah, you don't play with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
You don't play with my dad. So
Mm-hmm.
like so yeah, so like just through the combined efforts of like both of my parents, I just got very good about like, waking up, making my bed, waking up or like trying to be about my books and making sure I'm getting good grades. So my dad would always be during the school year I was with my pops and he was always like, if you wanna, play basketball, play football, play baseball, if you want to play these sports, you need to get to good grades. If you ain't getting the good grades, I'll pull you out of every sport that you like. And so I was like, well, I want to play sports, so that
Mm-hmm.
means I got to do the work in school. And so from there, academics, it kind of melded me into caring more about academics. And my mom was big on academics too. She didn't necessarily, because during the summer, it's like, kids aren't really focused
Mm-hmm.
on school. So she didn't necessarily have the opportunity to implement some of those styles during the school year. But like my dad did a great job. And so, like, pretty much growing up, when I was going back and forth, I was just getting hit upside the head with discipline and routine and rhetoric. And it's just kind of become a part of me.
I mean, it
Um,
sounds
and
like a co-parenting that worked, though.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
Like if
I
I'm your
credit both of my
parent,
parents.
if I'm one of your parents and you're my child, I'm like, whatever we did, it worked. You know.
Yeah, yeah, they both. I give them both all the credit in the world. I spent most of my time with my dad, but my mom's definitely her impact was felt because it was funny. Like when I always used to say it because like my dad, the woman he remarried was white,
Mm-hmm.
and her side of the family is very, very they just white.
I was gonna say, like, very white. They're
they're
very
just
white.
white.
Okay.
And so yeah. But then my mom's side of the family is very black.
Yeah.
Like I always used to joke around and be like, oh, it's like, over here is Duck Dynasty, over here is Love and Hip Hop.
Mm.
And like it was really that. Like I would go to my mom's. I remember I believe I was like 12 or 13. It was one summer with my mom's. It was like the 4th of July, and me and my brothers were hanging out with these neighborhood kids. There was this other family in the neighborhood that had some kids around the age that we were. And it was 4th of July, so, everyone's getting the sparklers running around the little cul-de-sac and shit like that. For some reason, we all decided to start like slap boxing. That's just, I don't know why.
What's slap boxing? Just slapping?
Basically, it's what happens right before people start fighting. Like you play fighting, like you're sitting there like, you're sitting there doing that, and then as soon as somebody get caught, it's a fight.
Okay.
And so I remember me and one of these kids ended up actually getting into like a real fight. Like either he caught me or I caught him, but shortly we was fighting for real.
Why you hit me like that?
Yep. And so we fighting for real. And then his middle brother came and like jumped on, like I was on top of him, and then his middle brother came and jumped on top of me.
Okay. And
then my older brother was big. Like he was like 6'2", 200 when he was like 15.
Okay.
So my older brother grabbed the brother who jumped on me, flung him. Kid hit his head on a rock. He wasn't serious. He needed some stitches. Like it didn't. Yeah, I don't think he was concussed or anything, but he split his shit. And it was not. Shit got real. We took off after that. We was like, oh, shit got real. And then like his moms came to our door later that night, showing us like like the little gash that he had on his head. So those were 2 of the 3 brothers. The third brother was like the oldest brother. This man was in the streets for real. And we were walking, like after this had happened, we was walking down the street probably like, I would say like a week later. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden this car just pulls up and cuts us off in the middle of the street. And 2 big ass black dudes get out the car. And then this like small Hispanic guy. Mm-hmm. And it was funny because as soon as we saw the Hispanic guy, we knew he was the oldest brother that we had heard about but had never seen. Okay. And so they pull up on all of us. They all stand in front of us. Mind you, I'm like 12 or 13. My other brother's like 12 or 11. My oldest brother on my mom's side was probably like 15, 16. All these dudes easily in their 20s. Easily in their 20s. Yeah, like these was grown-ass men that got out of the car. And he's just sitting there. And they look at all of us and they was like, yo, which one of you niggas is airing on? And we didn't say shit. We was like, nope. I know which one of us it is, but I'm not telling y'all because I don't know y'all. And y'all look like y'all got problems. Mm-hmm. And so dude grabs his waist. Flashes a nice little piece he got. And was like, I'm going to ask you niggas again, which one of y'all is airing on? And so my older brother was like, yo, that's me.
Okay.
And so they push me and my other brother to the side. They all surround him. And they was like, yo, I saw what you did to my younger brother. And Ariana's just standing there like, look, he jumped on my younger brother. I'm pretty sure if you was in my position, you would have did the same thing. And he was like, it don't matter for that shit. Like, that was my younger brother. So now you got to deal with me. And he keeps like shoulder checking them as he's talking shit. I'm over on the side, and me and my brother just sitting there. I'm bawling. I'm crying like a little boy.
How
old
are you again?
I was like 12. Okay. I want to say I was 12. Okay. Like I was a preteen, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, he keeps shoulder checking my brother, and I'm crying because I'm like, my brother's really about to get shot because I got in a fucking fight over some like sparklers and shit on the 4th of July, having like a little slap boxing match. Luckily, there were some concerned citizens watching all this from their living room. They stepped outside and were like, hey, you leave those kids alone and stuff like that. So like he shoulder checked them a couple more times. It was like, you stay away from my fucking family. They got in the car, they speed off. Okay. And like, so like that was like that's just like one story of where like that's probably something that people wouldn't expect that like I've encountered before, like having a gun kind of pulled out.
At 12.
But I mean, especially not that young.
Yeah.
But like when I was on my mom's, I got exposed to a lot of stuff like that. A lot of stuff like that. Like I would spend time. When I was in Indiana, I was primarily spending time in Indianapolis, Gary, and then Fort Wayne.
No, you say
And
Gary.
like,
We know Gary.
yeah, Gary is no joke. I spent a decent amount of time in Gary. Gary is the city where I saw my first drive by. That shit was that shit was scary. That shit was scary.
I witnessed my first drive-by. I was like 12, 11
Yeah,
in Detroit.
yeah.
I was on
I
my
don't know what
bike
happens.
riding. It's all a group of us riding our bike from the gas station. And yeah, all of a sudden we hear pap, pap, pap. I'm like, what was that?
Right?
I was not about to stay and find out, though. I'm talking about pedaling real fast. I should have acted like that when I was on the challenge on that bike, and I would have got the hell on. But
Yeah. No, my grandma was living in Gary, and so like it was me and my cousin. We were walking back from there was this like rallies in Gary, and we was just like walking back from. Yeah, rallies had back in the day. Rallies the fries and the apple pies. It was over. I'm telling you.
Remember, you couldn't go in rallies though. You had to walk up to.
No, you had to walk through the drive. You had to walk through the drive-through. You just sit there like, yo, can we get a fries and apple pies?
Like, I want to go in. No, they got two windows and a drive-through. That's it.
All that's in there is a little hut with like 2 employees, and they chefing it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like we was walking back from our rallies, and it was later, but it wasn't like super late because Grandma would never let us go out that late. But it was dark, and all of a sudden we saw like a car creeping up on this house, and we were just like, oh, we was like playing like it was the movie Friday, like, oh, drive by.
Ain't that the worst when you be pretending some shit and it be for real?
It was real. It was so. Windows goes down. Dude pulls out a gun, starts spraying. We was like, oh. We went back and there was like this little alleyway. There's near my grandma's house. There were like these back alleyways where a bunch of like weak fences. And yeah, we went back there and we was like, we found some bushes and we just stayed there. We was like, nope. Waited till we like kind of heard things up. Got up, took off. Ran straight back to grandma's house. It was like, we not stopping because we have no idea what's about to happen. But yeah, that's
why I call you my brother from another mother. Like I'm like, so was you with me when we was on the east side? And
no, Indiana exposed me to some things. But like, it's funny because like I look back on those things and I'm like, those were experiences that also kind of helped shape and form me into who I am, you know, like when I got in a fight as a kid and my brother almost got shot. Maybe I need to be more selective with who I'm fighting. Like maybe I need to assess the situation. For real, I was like,
I can't fight you.
Yeah, just be like, ask someone real quick before we throw these hands, who you tied to? Like before
what's that you claiming?
Who know you and who would do something to me if I did something to you. Like I just need to get a full idea.
Get your ass whooped by outside people, or do they retaliate on another level?
Yeah, like because if like I punch you and then all of a sudden gun comes out, that's not really worth it to me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's my mom's side of the family. That's some of the stuff that I got exposed to over there. Over here, it's really basketball in school. So it was like during the school year, I was very like by the book. It's not to say I didn't get in trouble. I was still a little hooligan, but like I was very by the book. I was focused on books and basketball. And then I would go to the summers. I would kind of wild out a little bit or get exposed to like some more wild shit. And then I was just bouncing back and forth. And then when I hit about 16 to 18, when I hit 16, that's when travel basketball really started to get the thing. And I got my license so I could drive. And at 16, I realized I needed to kind of grow up more because our parents, even though we don't quite know it, they are very, very human. Yeah. I think when you're a kid, you lose sight of the fact that like your parents are human. Mm-hmm. And I found out in like the worst. It was my junior year. It was the worst week of my fucking life. Worst week of my life. Up until when my brother passed. That was the worst week of my life. So I found out my mother had a brain tumor. And so I was like, shit. Because, like, I don't know much about brain tumors, but when I heard that, I
Yeah.
was like, so mom's is like really, really, really not okay.
Yeah.
Like, and if y'all don't do something soon, I might lose like my mother. And so I was 16 at the time, so I was able to drive down to Indiana and I was able to drive down to Indiana, be there for my mom's surgery. The surgery went well, God willing. I was like, thank you, cool, this is wonderful. I drive from Indiana back to Michigan within like a matter of days after the surgery because I was in season
Mm-hmm.
in my high school basketball team. I was in season. I had to get back there for the game because I was the starting point guard. I was like, they need me there too. So I get there. I have like my first dunk in that game,
You put your
which I was
first
like, all
dunk
right, yeah.
ever?
I was hyped. Yeah, I was the
Okay.
first
First
dunk ever
game
in a
dunk?
game. I was
Okay.
first game dunk. I was hyped. The next day, the next morning, my dad was having like some issues with his back, and I think he took the wrong pain medication. We were at my youngest brother. You've met Devin.
Mm-hmm.
We were at my youngest brother's basketball game. At the time, he was a kid. My dad was like, "Yo, my back's hurting." This is stepmom number two now,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "I need to go because like I'm not doing well." And I'm just sitting there recording the game. My dad starts to walk out the gym. I shit you not, drops, falls straight to the ground, cracks jaw, busted, just dropped. I like threw the camera, went to go make sure he was okay. They called the paramedics and stuff. Turns out that like maybe he just had like a poor reaction to where like he just kind of like his body just kind of gave out and he just passed out. But like so like then I was in the hospital with my dad within a week of just being in the hospital dealing with my mom. I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
this is a lot. And like, I don't know. You always think your parents are invincible until you find out they're not. And when you find out they're not, it's the worst. It's the worst because it's like, damn, like I don't care how many times y'all done grounded me, gotten on me about like not doing this or that. Like y'all, my parents, I need y'all to last as long as y'all
Mm-hmm.
can because I don't know what life's gonna look like if something happened to y'all. I can't have that happen.
I think
And this was all at 16. It was crazy.
that's why I think that's why parents are the way that they are, meaning we know that life is not indestructible and it's not
Hmm.
promised and that we don't know what number our day ends on, right? Um,
Hmm.
and I have a son and I try to give him everything that I can uh, in the time that I have because I don't know when that
Yeah.
last day will come. I don't have to live to 80, 150. See, I don't have to live till tomorrow. And,
Yeah.
and I don't think kids see that. And I try to, and
No.
I know my son doesn't. I know he thinks like, you're fine. You're fine.
Hmm.
My mom's crazy. She's always talking about life and this and this and that. But then just over the
Yeah.
summer, one of my very best friends, my cousin, my big sister, who I did 98%
Hmm.
of things in my life with,
Yeah.
54-year-old woman with two children at that time, 25 and 26, she fell and she died. She fell
Hmm.
and she died. Like she wasn't sick, she didn't get hit, nobody killed her. Like she fell and she died. And these kids who solely depend upon her are now like, who do I call?
Hmm.
So the reality of um, our parents being human,
Yeah.
and
Mortality.
also them trying to give us everything, all the tools.
Hmm.
It's like I tell Christian, like, hey, you got one more year and then you graduate, but my goal is not to wait until next year for you to be self-sufficient and know how to take care of
Hmm.
you. You should know how to
Yeah.
do that right now.
Yeah. 100%. Like that's why like if I ever see like my nieces or nephews maybe like copping an attitude with one of their parents or something like that, oh, I'm the worst uncle to do that around. I'm
Mm-hmm.
the worst uncle to do that around. I will smack you upside the head so quick. Be like, boy, shut your ass up and listen to your mama. Like I like parents aren't always going to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of parents, guess what? this is their first time being a parent. It's not like you get practice for being a parent.
You know.
Like, and this is just to my knowledge. I don't have any kids yet. That'll come when Kinsey and I are ready. But like, it's not like you get practice for being a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And like, as you're parenting, you're kind of learning as you go.
Mm-hmm.
So like, to the kids, when they talk back to parents, I was like, you have no idea how much they're trying to make shit work for you.
Yep.
Like, don't be so ungrateful as to try to talk back to them and act like you know this or you know that. Like, you can still voice how you feel, but don't ever do it in a tone that's disrespectful. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Those are your parents. Show them some respect. That was something that was ingrained with me on both sides of my parents and my grandmama. My grandmama was quick. She was quick with a belt. Grandma was like, I'm sorry, you said what? Bam, real quick. She was like, nope. She'd be like, I'm sorry, huh? Let me run to the kitchen real quick. Come here. I'd be like, no, Grandma, I didn't mean it. Come here. I'd be like, all right, damn.
You know,
But
you brought up something. You said, I don't have children yet. That's something, that will come when Kinsey and I decide. I really do admire how you plan things for yourself, and trying to make sure in the best way for you that you do them the proper way. And I'm no one to say this to you about like, I'm proud of you or whatever, but that the story of being raised in separate homes, experiencing this type of lifestyle over here, experiencing a total contrast over here, and making a conscious decision of how I want to see myself in the future. Not everyone takes the path of the road less traveled. Some people can gravitate and be attracted to this here that I know it's crazy and it's wild and it's dangerous and it's risky, but I'm drawn to it. Ricky out there on the corner. Ricky just went and bought him a Mustang 5.0 with the T-top. He ain't never been to college. He ain't doing none of that. He out there. He got 2 guns, and he got girls. He got gold chains, all the new shoes. I'm trying to be like Ricky.
I feel like if I didn't have the parents that I have, both like my biological parents and all the step parents that I had, because it took all of them to kind of help me become who I am. So if I didn't have them, and I'd say if I didn't have basketball, I don't think I am where I am today. 100%. I think my parents, coupled with like my love for the game of basketball or my love for sports, is kind of what kept me on the straight and narrow. Because if I didn't have basketball, even with my parents being who they are, you can still go out and get into trouble. Like you just heard during the summers I was getting into trouble. That's just kind of what kids do. But I was like, I'd rather play basketball than get into trouble. So like that was always kind of helping me out. But then if I only had basketball and I had parents who was letting me do whatever, I'm probably not focused on my grades as much. So then I probably would become ineligible, and then I'm not even able to do basketball. So like, you saw that shit too? Just popped up real quick.
It's so weird. It does that sometimes.
Yeah. So like, yeah, that's where kids and like just life. I think just as you go through life, things will happen that just kind of you have a decision. Am I gonna let this affect me for the negative, or is this gonna be a part of my success story? Is this gonna be part of my like tragedy, or is this gonna be part of my triumph? But that's on every single person to kind of decide. If you take things that happen to you and make them into lessons, then I think they're usually a part of your more successful story. But if you take things that happen to you and use them as excuses, I don't think it's going to work out too well for you, because you're constantly allowing other people to have ownership over your life, and no one should have that. You dictate what you want your life to be, not everyone else.
I have always admired you when we met, just the man that you are. and how you
Thank
move.
you.
There's nothing that I can think of that I am disappointed in Xavier. We are all human and we all make mistakes, but you are someone who is a mentor who should be looked at as an example. You didn't have to be a lawyer, and you could have just worked a regular 9 to 5 and your family and you and we would have still been proud. But you challenged yourself even further for not just yourself, but for your community, for your family, for yourself. And you have taken what you've learned, your experiences, and said, I also have more that I want to do. I want to try to take a chance and invest in Xavier and create a business. And now you're an entrepreneur and you have Lawyer Like, which is opening up a door for people like me and everyone else that we have connected with in our reality TV and in sports entertainment, and said, hey, I've been in that position that you're in. I received a contract and I signed every single place that they asked me to, and I crossed out absolutely nothing because I was excited. And also because the thought of having a lawyer, a law firm, an attorney review this contract seems overwhelming. It seems expensive. And I also I don't know who I'm going to be talking to, and they could just tell me and sell me anything. You have allowed the people in our circle the opportunity to take advantage of your education. And I am so impressed and proud of you for that. It's so unselfish. You are such an unselfish person. And it doesn't matter that, well, this is a business and it's monetized. So is being a lawyer and dealing with just my clients. Entrepreneurship is such a huge responsibility. Like, I don't even know that I would be an entrepreneur. And I went from entrepreneur to small business owner. If I had known all the responsibilities that come with it. However, I don't regret it. I love it. And I love to see people who take chances on themselves to say, I want to market me, my skills, my service for people. I want to create an avenue to help the community. And that is commendable. I'm so proud of you. And I wish you all the success. And I hope that the people that we know that need it, I hope they utilize it. And I want to see a girl. I saw you in the paper. I saw you on, I said, there's no way he's coming to my little podcast now. He's all in entertainment tonight and Yahoo business and what the hell is going on. But, I know, I don't think I have to tell you, don't be ashamed to be proud. But one thing I love about you that connects me to you, like as my brother, is we've gone through so many similar situations. Like, I grew up in the suburb, but every summer and every weekend I was on the east side where the drive-bys, where Nick's was, where the crack houses, where I was there. All the scars on my body, the burn on my leg, the busted chin, all of that came when I was on the east side. All my fights, my scrapes, the when I learned that I might like the wrong kind of guys, they wasn't in Southfield. They was on Mack and Van Dyke. So
yeah, we didn't even get into relationships. That's a whole other.
that's another time. But
that's a whole other can of worms.
I am happy and grateful to have a relationship, a friendship, a family in you, of someone who pushed past those traumas, those looked in the pile of crap and was like, there's nothing for me in there. That's not where my future is. I there's something better with my name on it, and I'm going to keep going, and it might be a long road, and it might be a hard road, and there also may not be anybody else on this road but me, and you are still on that road. Not every young man of 30 decides, I have what I want in my life for as far as my education, my career. I've done things that I wanted to do. Now, for me, I'm ready to establish a family. There are a lot of people who jump out there and be like, nah, I got some money on some hoes.
I think again, this is just like part of my upbringing. You know, my pops had me when he was 25. My mom would have been 24 or 25. And so, you know, just hearing what it was like for them and things like that, it was like, you know, I could have a child sooner, but like I want to make sure that like when I bring the child into the world, now granted, I don't want to be 50 having no kid. I'm not out here on my
Come on,
Robert De Niro
Grandpa.
or
Come
Al
on.
Pacino type shit. Yeah,
I ain't
I
gonna
ain't
be
doing that.
babysitting at 50. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Nah,
They
but
better be
like
walking and talking by then.
to the extent that like I can, you know, make sure that I'm being responsible because bringing another life into the world, that's like that's probably the biggest
It's the
responsibility you
biggest.
gonna have.
It is being
Yeah.
responsible for
So
someone else's
like,
future and success
yes,
when we are still
exactly.
trying to
That,
figure out
that's
our own.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like I want to have my own as figured out as possible
Yeah.
so that way when my child comes into the world, I'm like, hey, you're coming into a good situation or as best a situation as I can the present the world to you. And from here, you know, I'm gonna rock with you. You're gonna rock with me. Hopefully, that I'm doing things right, and I'm gonna try to help you do everything that you aspire to do. But in order for me to be able to do that, I got to make sure my shit is together before you even are a thought.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah, no, we ain't having. I gotta get married first, and that's not coming until next year.
Well, you know, I look forward to hearing more, and I could talk to you all day.
We usually do.
We do. I feel like we only just like chipped a little bit off the block, but it leaves.
That's still more. That's still more than what people are familiar with or used to.
Yeah,
For me,
yeah.
particularly.
I appreciate you coming, sitting,
I
you know,
appreciate you.
sharing, opening up, like going beneath the surface. It's not easy because, you know, when people
Nah.
have this certain perception of you and it's like, it's right here, it's hard
Yeah.
to say, you see me right here and it's not that I'm not right there. It's that I wasn't always right there.
Yeah.
And it's being comfortable with saying, and I think it's important that people of color identify with and relate to other people of color and say, for me, it's if I can be here, you can be here too, because
Yeah.
I didn't have it any better. My mom
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
17. My dad was 27. That might be illegal, but it doesn't matter, okay? Press your charges later. I'm happy to be here.
I was like, I was
Press your,
17.
yeah. Hey, but let me say this.
Yeah.
There was no way nobody was going to stop her from being with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
adamant.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean,
it
they
happened.
did something right. Look at their daughter. The daughter
No, they
is
did a whole lot of
thriving.
shit wrong.
They
And
got one thing right. We know they got one
they
thing
did.
right.
The egg and the sperm connected. No, you know what? That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. I love both of my parents. They know their flaws. I feel like, you know, I want to say my life would be totally different if they had done what they should have done, what they could have done. But at the same time, it might have been totally different. And I may not be right here. I don't know where I'd be.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, it's so much. I want, it is, coming out of the house, coming off of TV, all of that is it's a shock, and people do view you a certain way. And who doesn't like to be viewed on a pedestal, or as the greatest of whatever, or just a great achievement in their life? But I don't think that I was put in this situation, or rewarded, or made it this far to act like I don't know where I came from, and to not share
Right.
that with other young girls who see me and go, "Oh my gosh, I look up to you." I'm taking classes at a comedy club, and I'm gonna make this quick. I'm taking classes at a comedy club, and I walked in, and I had been coming for some time, and there's this guy who he is so hilarious. And when I walked in, I was like, "Oh, I can't believe that's him." And so I was like trying to walk in because I was late, and I was trying to get to my seat. And he stood up, and I thought he was like trying to stop me from going in, like I had to pay. I was about to be like, "I'm a student. I got my student card." And he was like,
Yeah.
"I just want to tell you, I'm such a huge fan of yours." I'm like, "No,
That's crazy, right?
I'm such a huge fan of you." You know, we just never know who we're talking to, who we're meeting, and why. Like, here this person is thinking that they're a fan of me, not knowing that I'm a fan of them.
Yeah. Right.
There's some young Black boy out here watching you, going, "He's a lawyer. He probably grew up in a home with parents who sent him to law school."
Oh,
And then
I know there's so many people who think that. So many people who think I had like that silver spoon treatment. I'm like, y'all really don't know shit. Y'all really don't know.
you believed in yourself, you work hard.
Mm.
And I'm not saying if you can do it, anybody can do it. But anybody can believe in themselves and put the work in and aim for your goal.
Absolutely.
And try to get there. And it may take you longer, it may take you shorter, you don't know, but you will never know if you don't try. And the thing is, you tried and you succeeded. And your journey and your path to get there was not handed to you.
Never.
And
Never.
so, you know, I thank you
that's
for
fine.
coming and sharing that.
Yeah, one thing I think, if we wrap it up here, that I want for you and me, because since we went on Big Brother, I do know both of us have felt kind of the pressure to be who the public kind of needs us to be or wants us to be. And this is something I kind of came to recently. I just kind of decided, like, I'm done living for everybody else. I'm done feeling like I need to be of a certain, I don't know, political nature whenever I'm on TV screen. I'm done putting the pressure on myself to go on all these shows and feel like I got to win. Because, like, at this point, I'm like, yo, the fact that my phone is still ringing is a win in and of itself. Because I didn't go on the first show with the intent of having a reality TV career, so to speak. So the fact that I've been on two other shows since Big Brother has been just a blessing. And I've realized, one, that I'm probably going to be a threat no matter where I go.
Probably.
So, like,
I
yeah,
am.
yeah. So, like, at that point, I'm just like, go and stop forcing yourself to be what other people want you to be.
Yeah.
Go and be yourself. Enjoy these experiences. Enjoy this life that you've been blessed with, and do what you can to try to make the most of it. But stop putting the pressure on myself. And I want you to do the same. And I can see you're doing that with Yes Bih Yes. You're allowing yourself to kind of take that pressure off and just be Tiffany. And I'm trying to do the same. So I like seeing that we're both just like, we did some cool things a few years ago, but now we kind of want to get back to just allow ourselves to be ourselves.
Comfortable in my skin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%. We ain't always perfect. We're not always pretty.
No.
We make mistakes. We have flaws, but, like, that's part of being human. Just because we're on a platform doesn't absolve us of the right to be human anymore. Even though I know that's what, a lot of people on social media might think like, oh, how could you do this? How could you? Like, yeah, a brother made a mistake. Like,
Yeah,
a system made a mistake.
I wanna curse people out too.
Oh, right. I'd be like, man, if I let these. The funny thing, I was like, see, like you and like Big D know, like I'll roast the fuck out of somebody, but people don't really know that because I be keeping it in. But
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm telling y'all think Kendrick bad. I'm telling y'all, don't activate me. That shit has been wild. I've been like,
I gotta
ooh.
go. I was watching something else, but I heard Kendrick drop some more stuff, and I'm like, yeah, last night.
Oh, so you didn't? Oh yeah, so you haven't seen? You haven't listened to Not Like
I
Us?
have not. I heard it's a banger. Whew. Okay. Okay.
Oh man, like don't get me wrong.
Not
Meet
Kendrick.
Meet the Gra- Meet the Grams was good. I think all of the songs have been good up to this point. Like I think Drake threw some good punches. I think Kendrick threw some haymakers. And then like Not Like Us, it was like damn, because like he took everything he had been saying, but then put it on a beat that's jumping.
Okay.
That beat is
Yeah, they were coming
jumping.
at him. They were like, "We don't want to hear this
Yeah, we not gonna be listening
lecture."
to this when we in the club. And
Yeah,
Kendrick said,
I got you.
"Noted,
Okay, let me sprinkle some
noted."
salt on it.
And then let like take that shit for y'all asses. And then now the people who was like, we can't listen to this in the club is just sitting there like, because I no, when I first played it, I turned it on. I just put it on loud, put it on speaker, and me and Kenzie was just sitting in the living room. And then the song started. We both just was like,
Oh, it's kind of
I
hard.
looked at her. She was like,
Not the ugly thing.
I was like, oh, this shit kind of spicy. Oh, this beat. I was like, this shit jumping. She was like, hold on right now. Yeah, we was in this bitch jumping. I was like, oh snap, yeah, Drake in trouble. Especially since it was so quick too.
Yeah, back
Like,
to back. He said
yeah,
back to back. I can respect battle rap, and I
yeah,
respect
facts.
them taking it to the
I love battle
studio.
rap.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when I was coming up, we would have ciphers, and people get in there, and
Mm-hmm.
they go head
Facts.
to head. And I was having a
Mm-hmm.
conversation with a guy about this, and he was like, "Well, no, after you go so low, I gotta knock you out." And I'm like, I don't, maybe because I'm a girl, I just view it differently. But I'm like, I thought that was the whole point of the battle. Like, get creative, say something else, hit me below the belt, then. But
Nah, see, yeah,
uh
no, I love, no, I love the battle rap, but like, I do see where man is gonna be like, cause like, so like, I watch battle rap. I'll talk about battle raps with like Swaggy, like I don't know if you know who like, fuck, I forget his name right now, but like T Rock or Tay Rock, um, Sue Surf. I think of like Arsenal, Hitman Holla. Like there's a lot of battle rappers that be like going in, and they go for like the jugular.
mm-hmm,
Ron's another one, and like they're just sitting there taking it, and it's a part of the sport. But you see every now and then
mm-hmm.
they catch them. And I'm like, I think that's just guys because like certain buttons you don't press.
Is there a such thing in a battle rap or a rap beef as a line I can't cross before I should expect
Um,
someone to take this outside of the booth?
I think I think there's like I definitely think there is a line where like once you cross, I think as soon as like family gets brought up, that's when shit goes. Like that's when it escalates.
But isn't that an
Because like
easy target? Isn't that like, okay, you just trying to push my buttons? So it's like, okay, I don't know. Like, can I get
so
can I not
so
go in the booth? Like, what if I thought of something more clever to say?
so like
Is it that I
to
can't think
me
of
when
anything
you
more clever to say? So now I want to fight.
I think that's what usually if you don't have any material,
Yeah.
I think when people don't have as many material, they're just looking for whatever to kind of to just get at you.
Yeah.
Like we could go back to that Big Brother scene. Like
Mm-hmm.
what was Kai gonna say about me that was really gonna try to like get at me? Like there really wasn't shit that he was gonna be able to say that I was gonna be like, oh okay. The only way he was ever gonna even come close to getting a reaction on me was pressing that button,
Okay.
and that's where like it takes it to that next level
Mm-hmm.
because it's like that's a place that you know damn well you shouldn't have gone, and that's what these rappers are doing. Like Kendrick literally created a whole track where he's like writing a letter to each one of Drake's like family members, his son, his mama, his pops, himself, his baby mama. I was like,
Yeah. So to me, I'm like, okay, cool. This is a challenge. So,
right,
so I'm a rapper. You're rapping.
mm-hmm.
Let me go lower.
See, yeah, no, like
Let
that's what I'm saying.
you
It's
know,
it's
but
really it's really whoever crosses that line first. Because like if you cross that line and then get shitty when someone like goes lower, it's like, bro, you started
you
it.
did. So like now you
Like
want to
like
fight?
once you cross that line, you yeah, like once you cross that line. But one thing I don't like people doing online, I know they're like saying it jokingly, but when they're like, oh, which now you gotta shoot them now. I'm like,
No, you
whoa,
do
man, like.
not. No, you don't. You need to
You know
you need
what?
to get
Like
creative. Use
they
your
be
lyrical
joking about
genius that you claim that you are.
that so casual. I was like, do y'all not remember like Pac
Tupac
and
and Big.
Big? Do y'all not remember? I was like, do y'all not remember Eminem and his beef with like Ja Rule and all? Eminem lost one of his closest partners because of a rap beef. Like, don't be like people are just saying
To
that
me, it
so
just
like kind of
sounds
willy
like
nilly. I was like,
somebody gets
y'all don't really
sensitive.
know these
It
people.
just seems like somebody
Yeah,
gets sensitive. Because here's the thing: you being upset that somebody brought up your family, you guys aren't in a rap beef, and the game is over. So there's
yeah,
literally like if the game was still going, then you have a way to beat him, right? You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
Or if y'all are
Yeah,
rapping or y'all on the basketball court, then I'm about to beat your
yeah,
ass in this game. You know what I'm saying?
yep.
But in
I
that
bet.
situation, we don't have any there's no game. We don't have an arena that we're in. You're just shooting at me,
Yeah,
so I'm going to shoot back the way. We don't have there are no rules. But if we're
I
rapping, then when we rap, I'm going to the fiery pits of hell on you, and you better go to the devil.
So that's why I think things get dark with these is because like you said, like in a game or like on like the basketball court,
Yeah.
it's confined.
Yeah.
But like with this rap beef, once you cross that line, I think how confined it is, there's like no telling because it's like it's just kind of out in the world. And so at that point, people start picking sides,
Yeah,
and it's
well,
like,
that
oh,
just
fuck
becomes
this, fuck that.
embarrassment. People are embarrassed. And so when people get embarrassed, they're like, oh,
Yeah,
if I can't shut you up with my words, I'm going to shut you up with your life, your abilities, your
yep,
handicaps.
yep, yep,
We could talk
yep,
about
pretty
this
much.
forever. Xavier, tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me at Xavier E Prather on just about every social media platform. You can also find my business, Lawyer Like, at Ask Lawyer Like on all social media platforms.
Love it. I'm about to blow ass lawyer like up because I'll be doing a lot of shit I don't want to get sued for.
Yeah, no, it's funny because like I wasn't quite sure how it was gonna go or how it was gonna be perceived, but it's been perceived well, and like yeah, it's definitely I can tell that it's something that people have kind of been waiting for. So I'm glad I'm able to provide this service for people.
Me too. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in.
I
Everyone,
appreciate you for having me.
remember to like, subscribe,
Like, comment,
comment.
subscribe, and follow.
That's right.
Is that the last one? There
Subscribe
we
and
go.
follow kind
I
of
did
mean the
good.
same. All righty.
I mean, I said both.